There is a parasite living in your mind, and it feeds on your tomorrow. Look at the way you navigate your day. You are rarely where your body is. When you are at work, you are thinking about the gym. When you are at the gym, you are thinking about dinner. When you are at dinner, you are thinking about sleep. You are living in a state of chronic departure. You have become a professional waiter, standing in a psychological lobby, tapping your foot, waiting for your real life to finally arrive. You call this ambition. You call this hustle. But the architect looks at this and sees a profound neurological slavery. You are addicted to the next. You have been sold a vision of life where happiness is a destination, a specific milestone, a specific bank balance, a specific relationship that is always just over the next hill. You are chasing a horizon line. You walk toward it, and it moves away at exactly the same speed. So you are spending the only currency you will ever truly own, the present moment, to buy a better version of yourself that is permanently out of stock. The musicality of time. Alan Watts had a legendary way of exposing this waiting room mentality. He observed that our entire educational and social system is designed to turn us into destination-oriented machines. From the time you are a child, you are told to prepare. You prepare for kindergarten so you can get into primary school. You prepare for high school so you can get into a good college. You prepare for a career so you can get ahead. And what are you getting ahead of? Watts pointed out that if you treat life as a journey with a destination, then the most successful person is the one who reaches the end first, the one who dies the youngest. He countered this with the analogy of music. When you listen to a symphony, do you sit there waiting for the final crashing chord? Is the point of the music to reach the silence at the end? Of course not. The point of the music is the playing itself while it is happening. You don't succeed at a song by finishing it quickly. You succeed by being in harmony with the notes as they vibrate in the now. But you have treated your life like a business trip where the only goal is to arrive. You have ignored the melody because you are so obsessed with the next movement. The dopamine trap. In the digital landscape of 2026, the invisible script has weaponized your biology against you. You are trapped in a dopamine loop. Every notification, every scroll, every coming soon teaser in your life is designed to keep you looking forward. The brain's reward system isn't actually designed for satisfaction. It is designed for anticipation. You get a hit of dopamine when you think about the next thing, but that hit vanishes the moment you actually achieve it. This is why success often feels like a letdown. This is why, 5 minutes after hitting a major goal, you are already looking for the next mountain to climb. Watts understood this vicious circle. He saw that the more you seek next, the more you lose the capacity to enjoy now. You are like a person trying to eat a meal while constantly looking at the next plate on the menu. You aren't tasting the food. You are just swallowing the concept of eating. You have become a future junkie, starving in the middle of a feast because you've forgotten how to chew. The architect knows that the next is a ghost. It doesn't exist. There is only the now, and if you cannot find peace here, you will never find it there. The treadmill of becoming. We live in a culture that worships the vertical line. You are told that if you aren't ascending, you are decaying. This is the illusion of progress. In the high-pressure environment of 2026, Gen Z and millennials have been turned into growth hackers of their own souls. You track your steps, you track your sleep, you track your productivity. You are obsessed with optimization. But Alan Watts looked at this frantic desire for progress and asked a devastatingly simple question. Progress toward what? If you are a musician, do you progress toward the end of the song? If you are a dancer, do you progress toward the corner of the room? Of course not. But the invisible script has convinced you that life is a competitive race where the finish line is success. The tragedy is that success is a moving target. The moment you hit the milestone, the dopamine evaporates, and the script immediately hands you a new, more difficult milestone. You are on a high-speed treadmill, running until your lungs burn, but the scenery never changes. You are exhausted because you are trying to get somewhere in a universe that is already everywhere. The hunter and the prey Watts observed a fundamental glitch in human desire that he called the backwards law. He noted that the more you strive for a positive experience, the more that striving itself becomes a negative experience. Think about your addiction to the next. When you are obsessed with the next promotion, the next purchase, or the next better version of yourself, you are implicitly telling your subconscious that your current reality is painful and inadequate. You are hunting for satisfaction, but the act of hunting proves that you don't have the prey. Watts compared this to a person trying to catch a bubble. The harder you grab, the faster it pops. Satisfaction is not a result of an action. It is a quality of the action itself. By deferring your happiness to the next moment, you have guaranteed that you will never be happy. Why? Because when the next moment finally arrives, it will be the now. And since you have spent your whole life training your brain to ignore the now in favor of the next, you will ignore your success the moment you achieve it. You are a starving man who refuses to eat because he is too busy planning his next meal. The architect knows that the only way to win the game is to stop playing for the result and start playing for the move. The vertical moment. The most radical realization Alan Watts offered was the death of linear time. You think of time as a river flowing from the past, through the present, into the future. You think you are moving through time. But Watts argued that time is a hallucination created by memory. There is no such thing as the future. There has never been a tomorrow. There is only an eternal, shifting, infinite now. Imagine a clock. You watch the second hand move. You think it is moving forward into the future. But look closer. The hand is always at the center. The now is the only place where anything ever happens. When you are addicted to the next, you are living in a mental projection, a simulation of reality. You are a ghost inhabiting a future that doesn't exist, while your body is left behind in a now that you despise. The architect does not live in the simulation. The architect understands the vertical moment. Instead of trying to get ahead horizontally, he dives deep vertically. He realizes that the next is a trap designed to keep him productive and predictable. By reclaiming the now, he becomes a wild card in the system. He stops being a consumer of time and starts being the creator of experience. He doesn't wait for the weekend to be free. He realizes that freedom is the space in which the now exists. He doesn't wait for the next version of himself to be powerful. He realizes that power is the ability to stand in the chaos of the present and remain unmoved. The sabotage of rest. The invisible script tells you that rest is a reward for work. It tells you that you must earn your peace by hitting your milestones. This is the ultimate form of internal sabotage. Watts pointed out that a tree doesn't work to grow. It just grows. A flower doesn't earn its bloom. It just blooms. You are a biological organism, not a mechanical part. When you treat your life as a series of tasks to be completed before you can finally rest, you have turned your existence into a factory. The addiction to next makes rest impossible. Even when you are on vacation, your mind is planning the return. Even when you are in bed, your mind is rehearsing tomorrow's battles. You have lost the ability to be still. The architect knows that stillness is not the absence of action. It is the absence of striving. It is the realization that the next is not coming to save you. No amount of money, no amount of status, and no amount of self-improvement will ever provide the peace that you are currently refusing to give yourself. To break the addiction, you must stop treating now as a waiting room for next. You must realize that the waiting room is the palace. The journey isn't leading to the music. The music has been playing since the moment you were born. You have just been too busy checking your watch to hear it. Why we run, we have identified the treadmill. We have analyzed the dopamine trap. Now, we must ask the question the architect always asks. Why? Why are you so terrified of the now? Why is your mind so desperate to escape into the next? Alan Watts observed that the human ego is a structure built entirely of motion. If you stop moving, if you stop becoming, if you stop striving, the ego begins to dissolve. To the modern mind, stillness feels like death. This is why, the moment you have a free second, standing in line, sitting in traffic, lying in bed, you reach for your phone. You are injecting a next into your consciousness because you cannot face the now. You are terrified of the void. Watts understood that this panic is the root of your exhaustion. You are running away from yourself. You have been told that the current you is a problem to be solved, and the future you is the solution. But the architect knows the cold truth. The future you is a ghost. He is a fictional character you created to justify your current unhappiness. By chasing him, you are chasing a shadow. You are a dog chasing its own tail, barking at the next, because you are afraid of the silence of the now. The architects strike to break the addiction. You must commit a psychological execution. You must kill the future self. Think of that version of you that finally has it all figured out. The one who is perfectly fit, perfectly wealthy, and perfectly at peace. That person is your master, and as long as he exists in your mind, you are a slave. He is a yardstick made of smoke, and every time you measure your real life against him, you find yourself lacking. Alan Watts argued that the future is a useful tool for planning, but a disastrous place to live. If you are always living for the next, you are effectively dead. You are a non-being. The only way to become real is to realize that there is no next. There is only this breath, this heartbeat, this vibration of the universe. When you kill the future self, the milestone anxiety vanishes. You stop preparing to live and you start living. You realize that you aren't behind in life because there is no one to catch up to. You aren't failing because there is no destination to reach. The architect doesn't work to achieve a future state. He works as an expression of his current power. He doesn't go to the gym to become fit. He goes because the movement of his body is the music of the now. He has moved from the horizontal struggle of the sheep to the vertical authority of the lion. The Zen of no result. The invisible script of 2026 tells you that every action must have a result. If it doesn't lead to a next, it is a waste of time. But Alan Watts pointed out that the most beautiful things in the universe are fundamentally aimless. Look at the stars. What is their result? Look at the waves hitting the shore. What is their next? They are simply being themselves, perfectly and completely, in every moment. So the architect adopts the strategy of aimlessness. He does things for the sake of the doing. He reads a book not to finish it, but to inhabit the words. He builds a business not to exit it, but to master the craft of creation. When you remove the need for a result, you remove the addiction to next. You become unmanipulatable. You cannot be baited with a future reward because you are already satisfied with the present action. This is the ultimate dopamine reset. By finding the music in the mundane, you break the loop. You stop being a consumer of time and start being a conductor of it. You realize that the waiting room was actually the throne room all along. You have stopped rushing through the symphony to get to the final note, and you have finally started to dance. The sovereignty of the now. As we close this excavation, you must undergo the final shift. You must stop identifying as the traveler and start identifying as the sky. The addiction to next is a storm of clouds. The milestones, the goals, the dopamine hits, they are just weather patterns passing through your consciousness. They are temporary. They are noise. You are the sky. The sky does not wait for the next day to be vast. It does not wait for the next season to be powerful. It is always complete. It is always whole. It is always now. Alan Watts's final message was a cosmic joke played on the ego. You are already what you are seeking. You are the next you've been waiting for. The search is the only thing preventing the finding. The trying is the only thing preventing the being. The war with the timeline is over. The invisible script has been burned. You have stepped off the treadmill and into the void, only to find that the void is a solid floor. Comment below to seal the final realization. The next is a ghost. I am the now. The music continues. The architect remains silent. Subscribe to stay centered in the void.